deep. It's been a difficult year. Terrorists don't prey on innocent victims.
Hey nice people, kembali lagi bersama saya, Febri Hands.
It's been a loveless year. I'm a man of three fears: integrity, faith, and crocodile tears. Trust me, darling. Trust me, darling. Look me in the eyes. Tell me what you see. Perfect paradise, tearing at the seams. I wish I could escape. I don't wanna think. Wish I could erase it. Make it
Hello everyone, we are from Group 7 and we want to present the video's presentation about the testing writing. Before it, let me introduce myself. My name is Ega Fitria Anggraini and my academic number is 1801-03-0015, and I want to explain about the first, the definition of testing, second, the definition of writing, and the third, the definition of testing writing. The first, the definition of testing. Testing refers to revealing a person's capabilities by putting them under strain challenge. Second, the definition of writing. Writing is the process of using symbol or letter of alphabet, punctuation, and space to communicate thoughts and ideas in a readable form. Third, the definition of testing writing. Testing writing is refers to an area of the study that contains the theory and practice that guide the evaluation of a writer's performance or potential through a writing task.
Alright, my name is Natalia Veronica Situmean and my academic number 1801-03-0009. In this video, I want to explain about the components of writing testing. The ability to write involves at least 6 component skills. They are: number 1, grammatical ability. This is the ability to write in English grammatically correct sentences. Number 2, lexical ability. This is the ability to choose or to use words that are correct. Number 3, mechanical ability. This is the ability to use a correctly punctuation. Number 4, stylistic ability. This is the ability to use or to choose sentences or paragraph appropriately. And number 5, the organizational skills or organizational ability. This is the ability to organize written or of work according to the English. And the last, or number 6, is the judgment of appropriation. This is the ability to make a judgment according to the task. So the most difficult and the most important from these 6 component skills is the letter. A native English speaker develops a sense of what is appropriate in the different writing situation. The writer must be aware of this different, and they must be learn to follow another different when they have a writing testing. Writing testing need to take these skills into account. So that's all that I have that I can't explain to you, and the next material will explain with my partner. Thank you.
Alright, my name is Fitri Medanti Saragi and my academic number is 180103 and 3404. And now I will explain about the procedure how to improve our writing skill. So let's enjoy it. The first ways that we can do to improve our writing skills is by trying to write every day. I think it is a simple ways that we can do to improve our writing skills. For example, we can posting our ideas in our social media like in Facebook or in our Instagram. So from that, we can get more experience. So it can be improve our overall writing. The second way that we can do to improve our writing skills is by making outline. This is also important thing to know if we want to improve our writing skills. Example, first we have to make an outline, then make a subtopics, and then make another ideas, so our reader can understand easily our topic. And then the next way that we can do to improve our writing skills is by read what we want to write about. Reading also can help us to improve our writing skills. Example, we can learn more from another writers about how they use every sentences in their writing. And of course, from it we can learn more, so we can make our writing more complete and more interest. And the next ways that we can do to improve our writing is by choose the simple words. Maybe we think that if we choose a complex words in our writing, we will sound smarter, but that's not true. If we want to be a good writer, we have to understand our reader. So we have to make an effective words in every our writing, so our reader can understand it easily. The next way is by convey a message easily. With this way, the reader will not be easily bored to reading or writing. So make an easily message to understand and don't be patient. And next ways is try to avoid a filler words. A filler words will make your writing not interested. So in your writing, try to use an effective words so as not to overdo the impression that it will make your reader feel bored. The last ways that we can do to improve our writing skills is by writing, of course, just writing. In this way, we have to routinely carry out writing activities. Don't make writing as a work, but think of writing as a pleasure that make another people will inspire a bit. So, if you want to be a good writer, just make an innovation that can innovate another.
Hello, I'm Ripka Wirnawanti Ritonga, and my academic number is 1801030008. And I will explain about the 1. Indicators of writing, and 2. The types of writing books. Let's enjoy it. According to experts' opinion, there are some criteria or indicators of writing. First, according to rate. Rate purposes, the criteria for good writing. There are 1. Vocabulary, 2. Content, 3. Organization, 4. Style, and 5. Language use. And second, according to Can. can say that there are three rules in writing. They are grammar, mechanics, and punctuation. Third, according to Haggerty said, writing involves remembering the sequence of sounds and the shapes of the letters, vocabulary, grammatical structures, and punctuation. Fourth, according to Brown said there are 6 categories of writing. There are 1. Content, 2. Organization, 3. Discourse, 4. Syntax, 5. Vocabulary, and the last, mechanics. 5. According to Jacobs mentions that there are 5 categories of writing. They are 1. Content, 2. Organization, 3. Vocabulary, 4. Language use, and 5. Mechanics. 6. According to Broad states that writing consists of 1. Ideas, 2. Form, 3. Flavor, 4. Mechanics, 5. Grammar, and 6. Wording. And the last, according to Rachel and Ryan, they say that writing takes into account context, content, structure, and mechanics, as well as process. If we make into the table, we'll like this. So, based on that some theories, we can conclude that indicators of writing are content, organization, grammar, vocabulary, and mechanics. So I will explain about all of that one by one. First, content. Content generate ideas and provide supporting details. Second, organization. Organizations expressing ideas effectively, clearly, cohesively, and well organized. Third, grammar. Good writing must using correct grammar. Fourth, vocabulary. A good writing must using effective words or idioms. And last, mechanics. Good writing must using of correct English writing. Okay, we continue to types of writing tags. There are some types of writing tags, namely 1. Gap filling. In the gap filling, tests are presented the passage with blanks and they fill in the blanks. This is a mixture of both reading and writing skills. However, with lower level students, it might be the only reasonable task of productive ability. And second, form completion. Another control way of testing writing is to have the testees fill out a form. For example, an application. The advantage of such a task is that it at least somewhat communicative, but the disadvantage is that it does not require any connected discourse or any use of language greater than lexical knowledge and a small amount of grammar. Third, making corrections. In some situations, tests are presented with a short piece of writing which has deliberate grammar, punctuation, and spelling errors, and they are asked to correct the errors. While this task does related to one thing that people do when they write editing, and it is objectively corrected, but it does not represent the writing task as a whole. 4. Letter writing. Letter writing is a common task for writing tasks. The stimulus for the letter may be a situation that is explained in the instructions, a letter through which the testees are instructed to respond, information given in chart or graph forms that is be summarized in the testee's letter, pictures or drawings, and the testees are expected to write a letter about and etc. And if the testees does not understand, for example, a letter that he or she is expected to respond to, it will be impossible to get a sample of writing to evaluate. And the last is essay writing. Essay writing is probably one of the more common of writing testing, but it should be used carefully. If the future situation of the students will not include writing essays, the tester should carefully consider whether it is the best test of the students' writing ability.
My name is Eva Audrina Rendolan and my academic number is 1801030030. And now I will explain about scoring in testing writing. The first one, set tasks which can be reliable score. Suggestion: A. Set as many tasks as possible. B. Restrict candidates. The greater the restriction imposed on the candidates, the more directly comparable will be the performance of different candidates. C. Give the choice of tasks. Making them perform all tasks also makes comparisons between candidates easier. D. Ensure long enough samples. The samples of writing that are elicited have to be long enough for judgment to be more reliable. The second, create a process scale for scoring. There are two approaches. The first one, holistic scoring, and the second, analytic scoring. Holistic scoring. Holistic scoring is a single scoring to a piece of writing. This has the advantage of being very rapid. This means that it is possible for each page of work to be scored more than once because this is also necessary. Analytic scoring. Analytic scoring is a method that requires a separate score for each aspect of the task. The advantages are it is dispose of the problem of uneven development of sub-skills in individuals. Scores are complete to consider aspects of performance, which they might otherwise ignore. The very fact that the scorer has to give a number of scorers will tend to make the scoring more reliable. The main disadvantage of this method is the time that it takes. Considerations on the different aspects may differ attention from the overall effect of the piece of writing. The third, calibrate the scale to be used. Collect samples and members of the testing team cover the full range of the scales. The fourth, select and train scorers. Trained scorers should be native speaker, be sensitive to the languages, have had experience of teaching writing. The fifth, follow acceptable scoring procedures. A. 2-0 more scorer to give a score independently. B. A senior member of the team identify if there are discrepancies. C. If the differences are small, the two scorers can be averaged, but if they are big, senior members will decide the score. D. Multiple scoring should ensure scorer reliability. E. It is important that scoring should take place in a quiet, well-lit environment.
So, in the scoring writing testing, there are several criteria that must be considered. In this video, I want to explain about the criteria of writing testing. And now I want to begin to explain about the criteria of writing testing. For the first one, in the content, for 5 scores, provide complete elements like goals, materials, and steps, and easy to understand. For 4 scores, provide almost complete elements and easy to understand. For 3 scores, provide fairly complete element and fairly easy to understand. For 2 scores, provide quite complete element and quite easy to understand. For 1 scores, not complete and difficult to understand. Alright, and the second one in vocabulary. For 5 scores, it is very effective choice of words and words form. 4 scores, effective choice of words and words forms. 3 scores, it is adequate choice of words, but some misuse words or vocabulary. For 2 scores, limited range, or have some confused when choose the words or vocabulary. For the 1 score, it is very limited range, or have a poor knowledge about the vocabulary or word groups. And the third, in mechanic. For 5 scores, it is very complete and well organized and utilized punctuation. 4 scores, it is well organized and utilized punctuation, but without initial capital letters. And 3 scores, occasional errors of punctuation. And 2 scores, frequent errors of punctuation. And 1 scores, no have mastery of convention, and it is dominated by errors of punctuation. And the 4th, organization. For 5 scores, it is very well organized and utilizes effective use of transitional words or phrase. 4 scores, it is fairly well organized and utilizes effective use of transitional words or phrase. 3 scores, loosely organized, but the idea is clear. few scores, ideas is disconnected or lack of transitional words or phrase. And 1 score, it is lack of organized and it is very poor of transitional words or phrase. And the last, in the grammar. For 5 scores, no errors in the use of the present tense. 4 scores, almost no errors in the use of the present tense. 3 scores, some errors in the use of the present tense. 2 scores, many errors in the use of the present tense. 1 scores, no mastery of the present tense. It is dominated by the errors in the use of the present tense. Alright, that's all about the criteria of scoring writing testing.
The conclusion from our topic is testing language skills is difficult, but testing writing and the writing of students of English as a second language poses two major problems. The first is making decisions about the matter of control, objectivity of the evaluation, and naturalness in the writing text. The second major problem is that if the test is done in a way that cannot be graded objectively, it is necessary to develop a skill that makes grading as objective as possible.